I'm going to try and bang this out really quickly. I saw Thunderbolts this weekend. I really enjoyed it, but I don't know how to talk about this movie without giving some amount of spoilers. So I've decided to break this up into 3 parts. I'm going to have a no spoiler section. It's going to be super short. I'm going to have a mild spoiler section just because we need to talk about this movie. I'm going to have a heavy spoiler section. I'm going to try and do all this in 8 minutes or less. Let's see if we can make that happen. All right, so for the non-spoiler section, like no spoilers whatsoever, I will say that I really enjoyed this movie. It is not top 5 Marvel movies for me. It might be top 10, but it's probably more in that like 15 range. I think it's really well done, and in 2025, I will take a really well done Marvel movie, as we have been sorely lacking them recently. But realistically, if this came out like right after Civil War, I don't think it would be talked about as highly. Not that it's bad, just that like in the heyday, Marvel movies were great. And I think this is really good. Whereas the last couple we've had have been kind of meh. In fact, I shouldn't say that because I never actually saw Brand New World or New World or whatever the new Captain America movie was. It didn't look that interesting to me. I didn't bother seeing it. I'll catch it on Disney. You don't have to see that for this movie. As long as you watch a trailer and you understand that Red Hulk exists, you're fine. In fact, the fact that I just told you that, probably you're fine. I will say required viewing for this one would probably be Black Widow, and maybe to a lesser extent the TV show Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which was called Falcon and the Winter Soldier originally. But that TV show plays a huge part in this. Black Widow plays a huge part in this. Everything else is kind of, it wouldn't hurt. Like, this is the 36th, the 37th Marvel movie. You don't need to watch all of them by any stretch, but I think those two would be really good going into this one. I think this one has a huge emotional weight to it. It is not a super fun movie in the same way that some Marvel movies are. It is fun, don't get me wrong, but it's not like a joke a second. Most of the jokes are pretty good, but they're few and far between. There's one joke that I thought was awful. It sounded more like the actor was saying it as opposed to the character saying it. And it felt really out of place, but that was just one joke in a 2-hour movie, so it was fine. What I will say is this movie's a little bit heavier than you might be expecting for a Marvel movie. It deals with things like suicide, depression, anxiety, addiction, things like that. So you will just be aware of that. I've heard people comments online saying that it's beautifully done and is really, really respectful to those topics. I have not personally suffered from any of those, so it's hard for me to like give you my own personal stamp of approval. But I will just let you know, like, if you're taking a young kid to this or somebody who's suffered with this kind of stuff before, maybe just be aware of it before you walk into it blind. It doesn't go like deep on it. It's not an art house movie. It is still a Marvel film, but it's darker than like Iron Man is or Captain America or something like that. So just be aware of that. There's 2 end credit scenes. Stick around for both of them. They're fun. I think that's all I can really say without kind of going into the movie a little bit more. So if that's all you needed from me, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Come back to this after you've seen the movie. See if you agree with my final thoughts. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Cheers. All right. Give them a second to get out of here, and we'll get into slightly more spoilers. And basically all I mean by that is I want to talk about Sentry. And if you watch the trailers for this movie, you don't see Sentry. At least I never saw Sentry in these trailers. We did see what we now recognize as being Void, and that was really well done, and I really enjoyed that. And if you don't know who Sentry or Void are, you're not alone. I barely do, but my understanding is essentially Sentry is a Superman level character. He is insanely powerful. He is one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel universe, but he's got, I think, split personalities or something, and essentially has like a little demon living inside of him, and the demon is the Void. And when the Void comes out, all hell breaks loose, like you will see in this movie, and it's incredibly well done. It's really, really cool. I loved the effects on that. Specifically, like the way he was erasing people was really cool, but specifically the fact that he was not just like in shadows, he was black. Like there was a little bit of dots for his eyes, and other than that, like there was no context, no texture to him. Like he was just a solid black void, and it was really cool. It was really well done. But they don't want to give that away in the trailer, so I don't want to give away that either. But if you're still here, so be it, and we'll get into more spoilers after that. But it's hard to talk about this movie without talking about the villain. I will say all of the characters did a really good job. All the actors are phenomenal. You know most of the characters in this movie, which helps. Julia Louis-Dreyfus does a really good job. It's the first time really seeing her a little bit more fleshed out. She's always sort of been that end credit scene character, whereas this one she actually gets an arc a little bit, and she does a really good job with it. Florence Pugh is the absolute star of this movie. It is her movie, with the other characters of the Thunderbolts being like background pieces, and it works really, really well. She is the emotional heart of this movie, and Florence Pugh is absolutely incredible and really easy to look at, so it really does work in that way. Sebastian Stan is technically there. They didn't spend a whole lot of time with him because, quite frankly, you know Sebastian Stan. You know the Winter Soldier. He's been in multiple movies. He's had his own TV show. He does a great job. I'm not taking anything away from him. It's just they didn't focus on him because you know him. You don't have to focus on him. We're not relearning anything about him. John Walker, Wyatt Russell's character from Captain America and Winter Soldier, does a really good job in this. I still don't know if you feel pity for him by the end of it, but at least you can kind of understand where he's coming from. He is still a dick, and actually that's a running joke throughout the movie, but he does a good job. Like he is exactly who you think he should be, and it's pretty well done. Ghost and Taskmaster are both technically in this movie. All you can really say about them. They're there. They do good jobs. They're fun to watch fighting, but they're just not, they are not the point of this movie. They are just parts of the team. The other one I want to mention, though, real quickly, obviously we'll get to Lewis Pullman's Bob Sentry, however you want to word it. But there is Julia Dreyfus has an assistant who is absolutely fantastic in this, and if you keep your eyes peeled, there are a couple of Easter eggs that she might pop up in future Marvel projects, so be on the lookout for that if you know what you're looking for. I won't go any further than that. She does a great job, and I really liked her, and I liked having her on screen. She was really cool. The movie itself keeps going at a pretty decent pace. It's about 2 hours long. I was never bored, but I don't know that I was ever like, oh my God, this is the best movie. It was always just like, this is really good. And it keeps going really well, and it's very well done. As I mentioned before, it does deal with things like suicide, depression, stuff like that. Like, all of these characters have really, really rough upbringings, and you see flashbacks of them, and they are kind of brutal, to be honest. And they leave these characters broken and in this really hurt place. And that's where we find these characters. Like, some of them are lost. No, I guess most of them are lost. Don't know what they're doing, just kind of existing because what's the alternative? And I think that they end up in a better place for having found each other. They're unknown to each other at the beginning of this film, and then they find each other, and they fairly naturally work towards becoming a team. And I like the way they did that, as opposed to like something like a Suicide Squad where they're kind of forced together. This one, they kind of chose to be together, and it works really well for me. I don't really know how to end this without going into more spoilers than that, so I guess that's where we're going to leave off for the no spoilers, and then I'll give you guys a minute to click off the video if you want to before going into actual heavy spoilers. And even then, I don't know. Oh, I guess we should talk about Robert Pullman. So last thing I'll say is, now I'm just mixing their two names. I apologize. Lewis Pullman's character, Robert Reynolds, as Bob, as Sentry, as Void. I am not familiar with this actor. I've seen things that he's been in, but he's never stood out in those movies to me. He's been in, Bad Times at the El Royale, Top Gun Maverick. Like, I've seen him in things, but I was never like, oh, that guy, cool. This movie gives him a performance where you're going to be like, going forward, like, oh, there's that guy. I like him. I think he does a great job. And he's kind of that amnesiac, kind of that person with amnesia at the beginning. So like, there's not a ton to work with there, but he pulls it off really, really well. You like him from the very beginning. He's kind of the, what do they call it in Spider-Man? The goober for the first little bit. Like, they're just kind of bringing him along. He doesn't really know what's going on. It's fun. It's a good role for him. And even at the end, he does, like, because his character changes drastically a couple of times, and he does a great job with all three of the different performances that he's giving. And I'm looking forward to seeing this character in future projects going forward. I guess maybe that's a bit of a spoiler. He doesn't die. Shit. Let's get into spoilers. All right. So if you're still here, you've seen the movie, or you don't care about the movie, either way, good for you. I really liked the way this movie did the backstories, the backflashes. They weren't just flashbacks. They were actually Robert Reynolds like diving into the person and learning about them, kind of, because like in at least Florence Pugh's, I don't think he was in Johnny Walker's. Is it actually Johnny Walker? It is Johnny Walker. I don't think he was in Johnny Walker's memory when you see him with his wife and child. I think that one was just for us. But in the Florence Pugh one where she's in the forest, there's at least one time where he is there watching that happen. So I assume he is learning about his I guess teammates is the word I'm going to use, but the people around him by touching their hands. And even for Julia Louis-Dreyfus's flashback scene, I'm pretty sure he's there as well. So he gets a bit of a flashback, a little bit of an image of who she is. I really like the way they did that and the way that they're showing like, no, everybody in this has trauma. Nobody here is clean. Nobody here has a good past. And in fact, Sebastian Stan makes that joke and it was really good. Everybody has a reason that they've made it to this team or this part of their lives. And the way the movie deals with that, I thought was really, really well done. I can't say enough good things about this one. And at the same time, it's like a 7.5 or an 8 for me. Like it's not like, I guess that is a pretty high score, but it's not in that top tier. Like for me personally, Civil War is number 1 for the MCU. That is one that I go back to regularly and I just can have it on while I'm doing nothing. I can have it on and be watching it fully intent. Like it is peak MCU for me personally. I would put this one probably in like the 12th range. I haven't actually done a list. I'll probably do that at some point, have like an actual rating of all of my MCU movies. But if I was to guess, I'd put this around 12. It's better than Black Widow. I know I said Black Widow is like required viewing. It's a good movie. You should watch it so you understand who David Harbour's character is. You get a better handle on Florence Pugh's character in this. Some people have said Hawkeye is required viewing because Florence Pugh is in that. I don't think it is. If you want more Florence Pugh, yes, you could watch the Hawkeye television show, but it's not necessary for this. There's no major character development in that one. It's just you get a couple of cool scenes with her and I think it's Kate Bishop. Yeah, that sounds right. You get some good scenes with them. But anyways, that's besides the point. I think this is better than Black Widow. I don't think this is as good as the top 10. I do think this is worth your time. If you're a Marvel fan, if you like Marvel movies, you're probably going to see this one anyways. Definitely see this one. If you don't like Marvel movies, this isn't going to change your mind. I really, really loved, I guess this is the spoiler section, so we might as well just talk about it. The end third of this movie, you know, the part where it normally turns into a sky beam and an army full of faceless enemies. This one didn't do that. It was just Sentry. He's just wiping people out. You find out that he's not actually wiping them out. He's just taking them to a darker place, which is kind of cool. Florence Pugh goes in there and starts dealing with her past, not just witnessing her past, but kind of dealing with her past. You see her passed out with a bottle of alcohol on the bathroom floor. You see her luring a little girl in to get killed. And you work her way through, and she works through those dimensions. I heard people comparing this to Inception. I get it. I understand why you're comparing it to that. It felt almost more to me like the scene in Far From Home with Mysterio. Like just, it's more of an illusion that they're trying to work their way through. I can understand if you're comparing it to Inception. I just don't think it's done quite as well as that one was. It is done well. I liked it. I think the fact that they talked him down instead of beating him up, like they tried to beat him up and it didn't go well at all. But they talked him down instead. And the fact that it ended with them all hugging him, like love won, not fists. Call me cheesy. That really worked for me. I really liked that. I loved that this dish didn't turn into I'm void and I can make 1,000 voids and how can you fight all of me? Like that would have been so freaking awful. And this is such a good way to go. And this is such a more interesting thing to explore than just who can punch more people. The actual effect of void, like turning everybody into like skid marks, I guess, was really well done. I really liked that. And the one scene that I loved, and I'm so glad this movie put it in it, because David Harbour's character is such a joke. And he's always talking about like, oh, I fought Captain America and all that stuff. And you just kind of laugh at him. Is the scene where there was the debris falling. The team all gets together, pushes it over, which seems dumb. Like, why didn't you just get Walker out from underneath it and let it fall? Why did you push it over? Whatever. But then immediately he sees something falling that's going to land on a little girl. And he runs over and he protects the little girl with his body. And the thing breaks over his back. And it doesn't even look like he really feels it. And it really gives you a sense like, oh, he is legit strong. Like, he's not joking when he says, I took on Captain America and I'm, you know, a super soldier. I wasn't really sure if he was like an X-brand super soldier or what, but like That was a serious piece of debris, and he took it like a boss, and he took it protecting somebody he didn't know. That was a great little moment there. And then the movie takes it one step further and kills her anyways right away. Was such a great little like yo-yo of emotions right there. We are like, oh good, it's that like redemption moment. It felt like Tobey Maguire. No, it felt like Andrew Garfield in No Way Home for a second, where he gets that redemption of saving the girl, except then it takes it away right away by killing her anyways. And at that point you are thinking they're dying, and I was just like, holy shit, I can't believe they went there. Like, they just killed the little girl that he saved. Of course they don't. It's Marvel. I should have, it's on me for thinking that they would have, but that's kind of the magic of this movie. It really does put you in a different place. It makes you think that this isn't the average Marvel movie, and that's part of why I really love this. As far as the post-credit scenes go, the first one is just the Wheaties box. It's a funny gag. It's fine. I laughed. It's good. It didn't need to be there. Not really, but it was fine. The second one, however, ironically spoiled for me a little bit because I was reading the credits. So sucks to be me. So in the credits, it tells you there's the Fantastic Four theme. And I'm like, where was the Fantastic Four theme? Oh, it's probably in the end credit. And then, of course, it is. So the second end credit scene, I've heard a lot of people say they didn't like, and I kind of agree, but I don't know why they didn't like it. So I'm going to go into where my thoughts are. Is I thought the family, the group, the Thunderbolts hanging out, or the New Avengers, I guess, hanging out was kind of fun. It didn't feel like the same movie we just watched. It felt like maybe like with a couple of these end credit scenes, they've taken from other movies and used that as the end credit scene. It feels kind of like that. It feels like we're probably going to see this scene or something very close to this in a different movie going forward. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's how it felt. It felt like this was a completely different director, a very different tone, but I still really enjoyed it. I like these characters. It was pretty funny to see them. The fact that Bob is just sitting off in the corner being like, I'm good, peace. Part of the team, but not really. I thought that was really clever. And honestly, like the one comic I've read that has Sentry in it, that's almost exactly what's going on. So true to form. The fact that they brought in the Fantastic Four when you know their movies is 3 months out feels really good, because there's been so many end credit scenes over the last 6-7 years that just feel like they don't go anywhere. Like, where did Shang-Chi's end credit scene end up? Where did that go? Have we heard anything about that? No? Cool. Doctor Strange, Cleo, nothing? All right, cool. This one feels like it's got a bit of weight to it. Like, no, this is going to come, like, we're going to get an answer to this soon. Like, we're going to find out what's going on with Fantastic Four very soon. Now, the negative to this, the reason I didn't like it is I don't want to know that the Fantastic Four is coming into our world. Obviously, they're going to. If you take a look at the Fantastic Four world, it doesn't look like the past from the MCU. Clearly, they're going to transfer over. But I still didn't really like seeing it and confirming it. Maybe that sounds dumb, but that's just where I'm at. I thought it was a really great scene up to that point. There's a threat coming from the outside, the outer space. All of that was really cool. Seeing that it was a Fantastic Four ship was cool, but also the implications of it, I'm kind of like, oh, I guess we know how Fantastic Four ends. Now, it might not be the end of Fantastic Four. It might be the beginning of Fantastic Four. If they come into our universe and that's how they get their powers, and then they go back to their universe, that would be a cool twist on that. But my guess is this is Galactus destroys their planet and this is them fleeing. Like, even as I'm saying it, I kind of hope I'm wrong. I don't know if I have too much else to say. It's really good. You've probably already seen it. If you haven't, go and see it. I'm sorry if I ruined it for you, but it's on you because I told you I was going to have spoilers. So if you made it this far in the video, please hit the like button, hit subscribe if you want to see more of this great content. We do movie reviews. We do our rating, which is a show when I get together with two of my buddies and we talk about movie franchises and rate those and put them on a board. And we do trailer reactions. If any of that sounds interesting to you, hit the subscribe button. We'll love to see you guys in the next one. But for now, cheers.